As you can hear, it's just getting more dissonant, and then it's just going mad. What is going on, guys? It's Harry from Whipped Cream Sounds back again. In today's video, we're going to be going over Wave's new plugin, Retro-Fi, because I got early access to it and I've been using it a bit. And I wanted to give you a kind of first preview look at the plugin on the day of its release so you can see if it's worth it or not. If you do want to go grab this plugin, the link is in the description below, alongside a link to a list with all the Black Friday plugin deals so far, where you can search for free and all the freebies will show up. You can search for simps and all the simps will show up. It's a really useful thing to have instead of scouring the internet for all the deals. Without further ado, let's jump into Ableton. I've been playing around with this plugin today and I basically made some lo-fi house. I was gonna make some lo-fi, but then I was like, nah, you know what? I wanna make some lo-fi house. So I'm just gonna play you what I've come up with. It's not the best thing I've ever made in the universe, but it's a really cool like beat sketch idea that I can sit down and add to later. And I've made all of it using the Retro-Fi plugin. Like everything has Retro-Fi on it because I just wanted to test this plugin out and just see how it was. And it's a really cool plugin, so I'm gonna run you through what it does now and what the different parts of it are, how they sound, all that type of stuff. So when you open the plugin, you'll see it's got this really cool like graphic novel interface, and it just looks retro and comic-y and awesome. And while that doesn't make it a good plugin, I always think great plugins start with great interfaces. They're easy to use, you can see things, they're colorful. It's like, I know where things are in this. To the left of the plugin, you'll see a device function. And as you can see, all of these are modules. So you can turn them off and on, which is pretty cool. If you don't want one of them, you can turn it off, which is a fantastic thing to have. So they're kind of like separate little modules. The first one we're going to go over is the device section. And the device section is basically where you're going to make your sound more lo-fi and make it sound kind of like dissonant and detuned and all that cool stuff. Let's just have a quick listen to this sound before the device setting is added, so you can have a listen to what it sounds like before and after. As you know, it's quite dry, there's nothing really going on. It would sound a lot cooler if we put some retro effects on it. As you can see in the middle of the plugin, we've got a 50s, 60s, and 80s setting. And from what I can hear, this just kind of changes the EQ of things. 50s is a little bit more tinny and there's kind of less low end and things like that. But let's just have a quick listen. And as you can hear, that changes the sound drastically. You've then got this device thing over here, which changes the sound a little bit more. So if I was to play those through this flat curve, you'll hear a difference. They're a lot cleaner now. There's less stuff going on. And this one sounds a little bit more distorted than it was. What this device thing does is it basically just changes the EQ curves of what your sound is going through. And then you've got a tone knob, which basically increases the intensity from what I can hear. Don't quote me on it. I'm not entirely sure if that's exactly what it does, but that sounds like what it's doing. It's kind of accentuating things. But let's just have a listen through the different devices. And the next thing you've got over here is a squasher, and I'm pretty sure this is a compressor because when we change it, we pull it down, it pushes the volume up and it's squashing the signal and then adding an auto gain to it to bring it back up to the same level it was. You then got this really cool ringer function, and this is probably one of my favorite parts of the plugin because it just makes things sound like crazy. As you can hear, it's just getting more dissonant, and then it's just going mad. Woo. I'm not sure why you'd want 100%, but I can see this being very useful in sound design cases. It sounds like it's kind of using maybe a chorus, a phaser, or a frequency shifter, or maybe all three in conjunction. I'm not entirely certain on that. And what this does is it just makes it sound really, really detuned if you add a tiny bit in. Like once you start to get up here, it's a bit too much for my liking. You're kind of making like dial-up noises from not the 50s, maybe the 80s. No, it wasn't the 80s, it would have been 90s, wouldn't it? But I can see this ringer being useful for sound design. Like if you put it up there and you start kind of like sampling things and resampling that and making different noises and then putting them in a different sampler and then putting them in different effects, you're going to start to create some pretty cool and unique, interesting sounds just by resampling things. The next part of this plugin is the space section, and you can actually get this for free in the Lo-Fi Space plugin. The Lo-Fi Space plugin is basically just this echo and reverb in one unit and a little high pass and low pass filter on the echo and reverb to, you know, scoop out the lows or scoop out the highs if they sound a bit weird. In this plugin, the filter is different. The filter is actually going to affect the whole sound, so you're not just affecting the space on this, you're just affecting the whole sound. Like if I was to play that, you can hear it's low passing it and that's high passing it, rather than just affecting the space. But anyway, this space module comes with an echo and a reverb, and it's kind of different to the other lo-fi plugins on the market because the other lo-fi plugins don't really sound too lo-fi with the echo and the reverb. I thought they'd be kind of clean sounding echoes and reverbs, but boy was I wrong. Although the other plugins sound kind of lo-fi, they don't go for the same character and flavor that Retro-Fi has, which is a kind of a more distorted and tinny type of sound. It's hard to explain in words, we'll just go through it now, so we'll just go through the echo. If I turn up the feedback and the mix, we'll take the level there and we'll put the echo to like a 4th and then have a listen. You can kind of hear it's a little bit more than just an echo. There's some kind of distortion, maybe saturation going on in there, and it really does add to the character of that echo, making it more gritty and not warm. It's not a warm sound. I wouldn't say it's warm like the other plugins on the market. I would say it's more of a gritty, distorted sound, which is really kind of refreshing. Because when I opened this plugin, I thought, okay, space is just going to be a normal echo and a normal reverb unit. Cool. In the echo part of this plugin, you have options to switch it from BPM to milliseconds, and you can change the BPM down here if you switch it to BPM. The host, it will just go to your host tempo in your DAW, and then the milliseconds, you can choose the milliseconds here on the echo if you want to do that. You've then got all the basic functions you'd expect to find in an echo, such as the time interval change. You could just change it to 16ths, 4ths, whatever you want. And then you've got a level setting, which just changes the amount of volume in your echo that's coming through. And you have a feedback section down here, which changes the feedback, and you can go all the way up to 200%, which starts creating some pretty interesting results. You've then also got the option to do ping pong or not, and what that does is it just stereofies the echo. It goes left to right rather than just, you know. So you can hear it's going left to right. Ping pong, like ping pong bats. Then over on the right, we've got a reverb, and the reverb has a couple options. You've got the length to change the amount of time. You've got level again, which changes the amount of volume of the reverb that is on your sound. And then you've got the mix down here, which controls both the echo and the reverb. You've also got the option to choose between a spring and a plate. And the reverb sounds kind of like, it's almost really resonant and really distorted at the same time. Sounds like your classic amp spring reverb, but then if we go to the plate, it sounds a lot more resonant than most plates that I've used. There's definitely something going on in this algorithm somewhere that is making it sound a little bit more distorted than it should be. Then moving on to the next part of the plugin, we have a noise module, and the noise module has a ton of cool stuff in it. Like, you have so many noise samples in there, it's ridiculous. And if you've ever used RC20, like, this is one of the coolest parts of RC20. So I'm so glad they've included it in Retrofy and expanded on the amount of noises that RC20 have. You only have, like, I think 7 noises in RC20, and here you've got tons of different stuff to choose from. It's a really cool module you can use to add texture to your sound, and you can also use it for drum sound design. It's exceptionally useful for stuff like that, because you have this threshold gate here which will only apply the noise when it slaps past a certain threshold. Doing that adds a little like dink of noise to your sample and can add texture to it and another layer, making it sound more lo-fi or making it sound more crunchy. But yeah, let's just go over the functions. So you've got this here which changes the noise, and you can click it to change the noise like this rather than, you know, going left to right. I kind of wish they would include a left right button up here so you could go back or forward, but you just kind of have to like browse through like this. You've then got this threshold knob which chooses the threshold that the noise will be added, which, like I said, is really cool because you can add it at a certain point and then it'll cut out and then cut out again, so it adds a bit more rhythmic texture, or you can use it on stab samples to add texture. You've then got a level function which turns it up and down, and you've also got this little button down here which does pre and post, which is pre the space or post the space. So let's just have a listen to how the noises sound and see what they're like. That's really nice. Kind of like a buzzy noise. That's a nice sound. I reckon if you pop that through the reverb, that would sound really cool. I want to try some of these synth noises because I was playing around with these and I think they're fantastic. Run it through the space to see how this sounds. Put reverb on it. Ooh. You can hear that noise. It's just adding like a really cool like texture to that. Next to the noise module is a mechanics module, and basically what this is doing is it's changing the wow and flutter of the sound. So you know how in RC20 you get that wobble and flutter section? This is basically doing that. So let's just have a listen to what it sounds like. We'll turn the wobble down and we'll just listen to the wow for now. So you can hear it's adding that kind of like speeding up, slowing down effect that you hear on a tape or you hear on vinyl. You also change the speed down here. Let's give it a more dissonant effect, which sounds really cool. You then got these wobble knobs down here, which basically volume automate it. There is one thing that I would like them to include in this wobble knob, which is actually wobbling it to a certain frequency rate or wobbling it to a certain kind of like beat division, because that could work really well in instances when you want rhythmic stuff going on your track. Another cool thing I've been doing with this plugin is playing around with the automation, and I've been using the automation on the styler to change between like different vibes of the track. So if I turn on the old Retrofy, I just had that one there so I didn't muck it up. You'll hear what I'm doing to the styler. It's kind of more full there, and then in the breakdown it drops out into this more washed out 50s sound, which is what I expect the 50s to sound like, but neither of us know because I don't think any of us are old enough to have seen that. But it makes it more washed out, and it's just a really nice function to have to quickly change the vibe. And I've done that on the bass down here as well, so it just automatically sounds washed out versus All in all, it's a fantastic plugin. I would highly recommend getting it if you're looking for a lo-fi plugin. If you want to go grab it, it's in the description below. You can click the link in the description and go purchase your copy. There's also a link to the free version, which just comes with the Echo and the Reverb unit in another plugin called Lo-Fi Space, which you'll see here. It's a red plugin. It's got the Echo and the Reverb unit, and it's also got a high pass and low pass. But this does not affect the whole sound, it just affects the echo and the reverb. As always, a little bonus tip for you at the end of this video is that we have a ton of free resources over on our website, which you can download for free, and they're wicked. So I'd go ahead and make use of them. There's also a full Black Friday plugin deals list over on our website with a search function, so you don't have to scour the internet searching for the plugin deals that you want. You can just type in your favorite brands or what you want, like synth or effects or reverb, and it will show up all the deals that are on for those right now. Those links are in the description as well. Hit the like button if you like this, hit the subscribe if you liked it too. We'll be releasing more content soon. But other than that, thank you for watching this far. I'll see you later, handsome devil. You.